Hey everybody, back again with another episode on High Octane Garage, and today we got something a little bit special. So I know that we've been talking about doing some more projects, and I've actually found a pretty decent one that I think should be a pretty good little build series. Let's show you what I got. Behold, this is a 1981 Honda CM400 Custom. I ended up getting it from a buddy of mine. He had it sitting in his garage, pulled it out, and I went up, talked to him, asked him, and we got to talking. Attempted to start it, and couldn't really get it to, which I'm fine with. I can fix any of this stuff. Old Hondas they're all the same. But the motor is free. The shifter does work, and she sat in a garage for about 15 years with the gas drained, so I have pretty high hopes for it. I can tell from just looking at the front there that we do have an oil leak on the front, and it's most likely going to be that valve cover gasket right there, as well as up in the top. The tank does look good. However, I am seeing some heat damage there. It's probably from that spot. Aside from that, I did also notice that unfortunately this gas tank probably isn't going to work. We've got a pretty sizable hole there, and I'm guessing the rest of it bubbled underneath is probably more of the same. Now, that being said, it's not in bad condition. The chrome is still here. There's very, very minor rust. I haven't fully taken it down aside from the seat. But we want to, I think the plan for this, I want to restore it and I want to make it rideable. I don't plan on selling. This is a good learner bike. Probably be decent for the wife. But I think today we're going to go through, we're going to try and get it started, try and get it running best we can, and then get a parts list together and go from there. I mean, some parts of this though, it's just incredible condition. Like, look at these gauges. So we got just a hair under 13,000 miles. And I mean, that's for 45-year-old bike. I suppose it would be 45 years old now. That's incredible. The only thing that I can tell that it's actually missing is there is a side cover that's supposed to be here, just like the left side of the bike. It should have a panel like that. But as far as I can tell, everything else is original. Now, he did tell me there was a garage accident. Wasn't dropped, but just got dinged here. And then also this turn signal. The headlight assembly got pushed a little bit, but that's fine. We can bend those back. And then of course the brake lever does not work. I'm guessing that there's probably a leak and glue did not solve it, as well as the ball is broken off. This does look replaced. I'm not too sure. Judging from old photos, I've seen some black handles, I've seen some with chrome handles. So I'm not entirely sure, because this one over here is black. And that looks original. So perhaps the handle was replaced by itself. But we'll see. So that definitely needs replacing. I'm not too worried about the odds and ends, like the turn signal here at the moment. But this is going to be a fun little build series. So like I said, today we're going to focus on trying to get it to run. And then I can kind of go from there, just piecing through, ordering parts. Now, we did try and put a jump box to it, and I'll show we'll put a jump box to it and I'll show you all what happened, but it wasn't taking nothing through the battery, which I'm not surprised. That's a pretty old battery. But it wasn't getting any power through. So I'm guessing, I don't know, it could be, let's see here. That solenoid doesn't look terrible, but with it sitting so long, I wouldn't be surprised if that was bad. So let's see if we can work some magic. The carburetors really don't look too bad. I haven't touched anything on this yet. I haven't messed with the carburetors. I haven't messed with the spark plugs or the battery. This is exactly how it came to me. Impressively, for how old the tires are, they're holding air. Now, I'm not gonna ride on them, but that's pretty cool. It does look like we have a slight oil leak here as well from the seal for the clutch lever. Easy enough replacement. You can get full gasket kits for these. Now, it may be difficult to get some parts for these, or for this. This was only made for 1 year. However, the CM400 engines were produced from 79 to like the late 80s. So engine parts, I'm not too worried about. It's more other deals for the bike itself. Carburetors, they should clean up nicely. I'm sure I can get a rebuild kit for that. I haven't even looked inside the airbox. I'm not sure how that's looking. I mean, man, this is, for its age and how it's set, it's not in terrible condition at all. Generally, I'd say there's probably like 95% of all the parts here. The chrome is barely, I mean, it's dirty, it needs polishing, but all of that can be buffed out. The frame, I don't really see any frame rust anywhere aside from the prop stand down below. The seat really isn't in that bad a condition. I can have that reupholstered. I did find this kind of funny. So he told me this was his grandpa's bike. And he told me that he had welded a bolt here to be able to kick the kickstand out. I thought that was pretty interesting. The chain's not even rusty. That's just grime. That'll clean up very nicely. Like the whole deal is impressive. And a lot of these labels are actually legible. That to me is insane. This is probably the only one that it's got a little scarring. And that's probably just from over the years, you know, they wear. And then we also have the front one there. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, like even the reflectors, which I normally take these off, but I'll probably leave them on. The front pads do squeal, so that's definitely gonna have to be replaced. But the rear brake does feel pretty good on the pedal. Shifter, like I said, the shift, I think that the clutch basket is probably, or the pads and the discs are probably frozen. And the reason I say that is by putting it into gear and then pulling the clutch handle does actuate the arm pretty well. However, pulling the clutch does not disengage the engine and the drivetrain, which I would expect that. Sitting 15 years, I would be very impressed if the discs and steels weren't frozen together. So, yeah, pretty neat little bike. I think this will clean up very well. Hopefully we don't need to get any kind of major parts. But let's go ahead and we'll see about getting some power to this thing and trying to get it to start over. Maybe throw some ether at it or some brake cleaner, see if it'll crank over. Alrighty, yeah, so it's about what I thought. This solenoid is definitely bad. So as you can see, key's in the on position. That's there. It's sending power. No lights, nothing, not in any of the other positions. Nothing with the turn signals, nothing with high and low. Starter, nothing. However, this is how I know it's a solenoid. Now the lights come on. Honestly, I'm just gonna throw some gas at it and see if we can get it running just like that. Okay, so the first thing that definitely needs to happen is I'm fairly certain that this fuel tank is rusted out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this fuel line, and I have just a little Predator tank that I think will work for now until I can weld up a little gas tank to strap on so I can actually ride this if it works, of course. Let's see about getting these off. I think she's going to run, because it was also kept, like I said, it was garage kept for 15 years, according to my buddy, but they also did the right thing and drained the gas. So the carburetors, I mean, I'm sure I'm still going to do a rebuild kit, but theoretically they'd be fine. Okay, turn this here. See about getting this line on. This line is a tad bit old, but we should be able to force it on here. There we go. I don't even think I need a clamp on that. That is tight. Try not to make a mess. I think that should do. All right, I see fuel going in. Let's see what happens when we jump that starter solenoid. Bike is on, key is on. Come on, little girl. Oh, we are leaking fuel bad. Where's that coming from? Well, that's definitely not good. You can see there, we are leaking a massive amount of fuel. I should probably pinch this line off. Let me do that right quick. Okay, I've got that line pinched off. It looks like losing from in here. I wonder if it might be something as simple as a screw just not tightened or whatnot. Because it's not from around the carburetor, like where it would seal at. It's Well, now there is that spot there. All right, no, I'm not holding the camera properly. Right here. You see the other side. Probably needed to take the tank off. This side's dry. It's only in that midsection. So I wonder. Oh yeah, it's wet in there. Let's try and take the tank off and see where this gas is coming from. Yeah, that didn't free up much looking room. Still really can't tell. Yeah, it kind of looks like it was around that bowl on that carburetor. Well, there's not too much I can do about that. I'm not going to pull the carbs until I'm actually doing a rebuild kit, or get the rebuild kit, because I don't want them to just sit in pieces all over my workbench. So unfortunately, that's probably going to be it for today. There's really not much else I can do anyways until I start getting some parts, but at least now I kind of figure out what I need to get. Definitely these spark boots have definitely seen better days. Spark plugs, gonna change those just because. Carburetor rebuild kit for sure. Air filter is definitely a must. And this valve cover gasket has got to get changed, as well as these. On this side, it's not too horrible, but on this side, it is just gone. And then we'll see about finding this little rubber sealer, get a new battery, or I might honestly just rob it off of that. It's the same size, and I'm not riding either of those at the moment. Definitely not riding that one right now. Just haven't really, it's cold at the moment, and I don't really feel like it, but this is definitely worth getting started. So yeah, man, that's such a bummer. I mean, at least it turns over. This solenoid definitely, I mean, it really doesn't look that bad though. That's the thing. Let's see. It's got some age to it. I don't know if that's the original one or not, but yeah, that's, I'm hoping that this is the only thing preventing power going to the rest of the bike. Because if it's not, that could be a lot of different things and start getting expensive very quickly. Oh wow, I didn't even notice that. What is this? Wait, hold on. Is that? Holy crap. That's a toolkit. Registration card. I don't know if this is meant to come with the bike, but if this is the original toolkit, that's pretty freaking sweet. I mean, that's, wow. I was not expecting that. Let me get all this thrown back in, throw the bike back together, and we'll give some closing remarks on this part one. All right, guys, got the bike all thrown back together. Again, I am really, that I knew something was gonna happen. There's probably gonna be some kind of fuel leak, but I didn't think it would be that bad. But I mean, it's, you know, it's to be expected with the age of this bike, how long it's sat. I'm not surprised. I bet you right now, actually, yeah, I'm kind of curious. I want to know get a little baby screwdriver here. Now let's see how these diaphragms are looking, because I bet you any amount of money. Oh, that's gonna strip. A little too small. It's average. It's average. Surely I have. Yeah, this will do. I'm curious to see if it was the diaphragms, because it kind of seemed, that actually came off pretty easy. It kind of seemed like it had come from the bowl. So maybe just a bottom bolt. What? Ain't no way. Wow. It's not disintegrated. Definitely gas touched it, because I smell it now more and I can feel it on this. That's impressive. Can't really see much in there. I gotta go find that spring wherever it went. Okay, got that back on. I really want to know where all of that came from, because it came from the center there. And I know that there's a rail that joins them and connects. So I wonder if maybe, no, because overflow would have come down to the, well, no, it is pretty wet down there. I don't know. It's going to be really difficult to tell without actually taking them off and then taking them apart. I wish I had an ultrasonic cleaner. That would make this job a lot easier. But air compressor and brake cleaner typically does the job. They should clean up just fine. Hopefully I can find a rebuild kit pretty easily. It has everything that I'll need, which I'm not too terribly worried about. The other thing I'll be worried about, though, is actually getting it separated from there and then back here on the air box. I don't know how brittle that is, but I guess next time when I have parts, we will find out. All right, guys, that's unfortunately all for this video. It's kind of just a general look over the bike, try and see if it'll run. I knew something was going to happen with the carbs, and they've been sitting too long. But I do have parts list together here. Battery, air filter, spark plugs, oil and filter, tires, carb rebuild kit, starter solenoid, clutch kit, some form of head rebuild kit if I can find it. Front brake lever, master cylinder with the master cylinder to replace that broken lever and get the front brakes back. Fuel lines, ignition coil, and brake pads is kind of where I'm at right now. Most of the stuff I should be able to find on eBay. Until a lot of that comes in, there's not too terribly much I can do. I don't want to take the time to start cleaning or painting any of the components or buffing the chrome, because if the motor is shot or something happens and I did all that work and threw it all back together, well, I just wasted time. So hopefully next video we'll have some parts in, we can get it running properly, and if it's good enough, then I'll take the motor down, strip it down to replace the head gasket and see what's up under that valve cover and get the silicone job fixed. I'm not sure who thought it was a good idea to put just regular silicone on there, but it did not hold because, well, there's a very obvious oil leak on the front, at least when it was running. So until the next video, that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and start ordering parts,
and we'll go from there, I guess. Hopefully it won't take too long. Most of it is probably going to be eBay, just because of how old this bike is and the fact they only made it for a year. But I'll see what I can find on Amazon too. Maybe some spark plugs or, air filters, stuff like that. So stay tuned for part 2. Hopefully we'll actually be able to do something in the next part.